All right, we're back out here for Board Games, brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. The name to know when the drains don't flow. Ted, we just heard Mac Jones describe his pick-6 in some detail there. We heard Bill Belichick after the game say, just straight cover 2. That's what we've got written at the top of the board. We know you played a ton of cover 2 for the Patriots back in the day. Describe to us the rules for cover 2, which will help us explain how Mac Jones got this play wrong.
Absolutely, Phil. Absolutely. So cover 2, basically cover 2 meaning 2 high safeties, all right? So these 2 safeties, they have half the field right here. So they're responsible for half the field. This is a coverage I played all the time when I was with the Patriots. It's a coverage actually that Ty Law had a lot of the Peyton Manning interceptions on in his career. So it's a great coverage. I absolutely love it. In the Miami Dolphins, they run this coverage to perfection on this play. So what you have here is 12 safeties playing half the field. This cornerback over here, he has what we call hook to curl. So he's hook to curl right here. All right, this linebacker is hook to 3, so this is number 3. So if number 3 is over here, he's going to drop to that side, okay? These guys on this side, hook to curl. He's going to reroute anybody that's going down the middle of the seam right here. This cornerback is very important. This is Xavier Howard. This is who got the interception. His role in cover 2, and you're going to be uptight jamming. Why you're uptight jamming in cover 2 is because you know you have safety over the top, so you can be very aggressive in your jams right here, and that's what gives you the kind of green light to do that. So he's up here, he's going to jam the wide receiver right here. Xavier Howard is, but Nelson Aguilar gets a great outside release because he's trying to get this corner. Because his rule is, if it's one outside releases, you carry him deep only if nothing comes to you in the flat. So this cornerback right here, carry anything deep unless something flashes in the flat. Xavier Howard, he jams Nelson Aguilar, who does an outside release, and instead of turning his back to carry him, he kind of jams, he turns for a split second, and then he gets his eyes right back because a lot of times when they do outside release on number 1, they like to bring the inside number 2 out here, hoping that you've already been running down the field. Xavier Howard jams Nelson Aguilar, pivots, comes right back in. Mac doesn't see him, and it's really just a blown throw by Mac Jones, but a great way to kind of bait. He baits Mac Jones into that throw because he acts like he's going to turn around with him when he doesn't, and then he's right here for the interception, an easy 6 points right here. This concept, the outside release with number 2 coming in, is a concept a lot of teams like to run against cover 2 because they're hoping this corner gets baited and turning and running. He doesn't get fooled, Xavier Howard, clearly because he's a great quarterback. He sits on it, makes a great interception, scores 6 points, and puts the Pats in a big hole.
Really smart call by former Dolphins head coach Brian Flores, because we know the Dolphins said they love to play man-to-man. Mac Jones is thinking that too. First third down of the game, what do? They play some zone, and they bait the rookie into throwing a pick. Why do we care about this now? Because the Bills will mess with their coverages as well in the wild card round against the Patriots. Time now for Board Games, brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. The name to know when the drains don't flow. Ted, we have a game-deciding play on our hands here that we have to go over. It's 3rd and 8, end of the game, about 2 minutes left. If the Dolphins convert, that's it. The Patriots are done. We know now that's what happened, but why did it happen? It feels like the combination of the coverage and the undisciplined rush opened things up for Tua Tagovailoa.
Absolutely, Phil. Huge play in the game, huge play. Patriots got to get off the field. You got to get this 3rd down stop on this play. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do it, and here's the reason why. Okay, so the Patriots are in 1-double-88. That's the call, 1-double-88. Who is 88? That's Mike Gesicki, the tight end right here, okay? They also had a pseudo kind of double team on Jalen Waddle over here. They had a DB on him as well as safety, middle of the safety helping him as well. So it's a double team truly on Jalen Waddle, but also on Mike Gesicki, okay? Here's what you got to know. So you have all these guys, you have 5 guys on their 5 wide receivers, middle of the safety help, and at the snap of the ball, this running back goes, Duke Johnson goes right through the line of scrimmage and pulls Kyle Van Noy, who's in the middle of the field, over with his coverage. So that opens up the middle of the field. So keep that in mind. So when Kyle Van Noy comes over, he exits the middle of the field. Here's the thing with Mike Gesicki. He runs a deep over. When he runs a deep over, Joanne Williams, who was covering in him with the double team on Adrian Phillips, passes Gesicki's coverage off to Adrian Phillips, who now takes over this coverage. Now you have Joanne Williams, who is a free guy after he passes on his coverage, okay? And that's important to know because at the snap of the ball, you have Matthew Judon coming up off the edge. The problem with Matthew Judon is he goes way past the quarterback. He needed to throttle down right here when the quarterback starts to back up. And by going around the quarterback, it gives him an escape lane. It's man-to-man, so everybody's got their backs turned. Kyle Van Noy gets pulled over with his coverage. It's a huge hole right here. And here's the thing, Tua Tagovailoa, he sees all that space. He takes advantage of it. He hits it right up the middle because everybody's got their backs turned in coverage and man-to-man. It's a great kind of spontaneous kind of thing to do when all the guys' backs are turned in man-to-man coverage. In the vacancy of Kyle Van Noy leaving right there, leaves a huge window, a hole right there for the quarterback to hit. Huge gain, big play in the game, and really sealed the game for the Miami Dolphins.
We know the Patriots love to play man-to-man defense, right?
Yep.
But when you're going up against an athletic quarterback, it's hard to keep that guy under wraps if the front isn't doing its job. That's one thing you have got to get figured out before you see the Buffalo Bills and their athletic quarterback, Josh Allen. So we've taken a look at a back-breaking scramble from Tua, but the Dolphins did some damage with their running backs on Sunday as well, especially when they ran it outside the tackles, outside the tight ends. Miami only ran it outside the tight ends 9 times, but they picked up nearly 6 yards per carry when they did, including 2 of their 3 runs for more than 10 yards on Sunday. And that brings us to our Ted-Niques. Ted, let's talk about setting the edge, my friend. It matters in the pass game, as we just saw on the board there, but it matters against the run as well. Let's start with the pass. What could Matt Judon, whether it was him, which it was on this play, or Kyle Van Noy, what could those guys do as opposed to just flying up the field? Because we know they want to use their speed and get to the quarterback, but it can't be all about speed.
It's not all about speed, all right? So you have different options, if you will, if you're a pass rusher, especially against a mobile quarterback. So, Phil, you're the right tackle in this scenario. The quarterback is right to the left of you on the inside. I'm the outside rusher on this play. If you're an outside rusher for the New England Patriots, okay, and you snap the ball, you drop back to block me, and I coming upfield, as I'm rushing, and I kind of do this, Matt Judon likes to do this up and under, which a lot of guys do, up and under, and you start going towards the quarterback. When you get even with the quarterback, you have to stop your rush. You cannot continue your rush behind the quarterback. Phil, you never make a sack behind the quarterback, right? So as you're doing the rip up and under and you see you're even with the quarterback, you got to counter move. You got to make sure once you get even with them, you got to counter back. You got to do a second move. You got to do a third move. You got to get right back into the rush. That way with second and third moves, you can't just take yourself out of the play, run past the quarterback, because then you're no good to the defense when you do that, and you open up massive lanes, and it puts a lot of stress on the guys that are in man-to-man coverage to come up and make tackles.
Especially when you're going up against somebody like Josh Allen, you have to make sure you got some integrity when it comes to your pass rush lane.
It's going to be huge this week, doing the exact same thing in this week against the Buffalo
How about
Bills.
against the run? Because as we just saw, the numbers on those runs that the Dolphins had to the outside, they were gargantuan. The Bills, they're not the most downhill type of run game, Ted, but they'll run it outside too. End arounds, jet sweeps to Isaiah McKenzie. How do you set the edge against the run if you're a Patriots linebacker?
So setting the edge, right? It's a big term that we've always used, especially around here in New England. Setting the edge is for an outside linebacker, is making sure you turn everything back inside. If you're an outside linebacker, you have force, and you have the edge you're supposed to have contained to your side. You have to make sure you turn everything back to the inside, because if you don't, there's free yards to be had on the outside, and the Miami Dolphins exploited that. So let's show you a couple examples of what I'm talking about. You're the right tackle again. I want you to fan block me. Phil's going to fan block me, and I'm an outside linebacker. Fan block me, and I'm the outside linebacker, and I got to run to me. I got to make sure my outside shoulder is on his outside shoulder right here so that I can disengage and force the ball back inside, okay? You have to do that in this defense. Now I want you to do a reach block.
Okay.
And this is what a lot of teams do. So they're trying to, again, seal the edge, get the edge, and by blocking the outside linebacker, and you can do a reach block. So what this linebacker has to do is when Phil comes to reach, is press. Keep your outside shoulder out here and turn everything back to the inside. You can't get hooked. You can't get reached. You can't dip inside. If you give up the edge, it's free yards on the outside, and Bill Belichick has no patience for that.
And now when you hear set the edge on your televisions, you know what they're talking about, because that guy right there, our guy, Ted Johnson, just explained it to you. You're welcome. We have our friend Trenni Kusnierek out here to be Jacoby Myers for us at this point in time.
Kid Jacoby running these, so.
Our Bella early edition with Trenni coming up at 6:30. Stick around for that. I'll be Nelson Aguilar. Ted, you're going to be Xavier Howard. Why did this play go the way that it ended up going? Tell us what Xavier Howard did to maybe bait Mac Jones.
He did an excellent job. Okay, so Trenni is going to be the slot receiver, Jacoby Myers. You or Nelson Aguilar, the outside receiver. And Xavier Howard is the cornerback. He's playing cover 2. I love this coverage. This is the coverage that Ty Law used to get a lot of interceptions on Peyton Manning, playing this coverage and kind of baiting Peyton into throwing balls to him. Xavier Howard baited Mac Jones on this play, and here's what the route combination was on this play. Okay, at the snap of the ball, you're going to have Nelson Aguilar do an outside release, and then you're going to have Trenni, the inside receiver, do a 5-yard in, okay? What Mac Jones thinks when Xavier Howard is up in a jam position like this, it looks like man-to-man to him. So he's thinking it's man-to-man before the snap of the ball. It's something different, obviously, post-snap. So let's just show you what happens. The snap of the ball, boom. The outside receiver, the receiver goes outside, and this cornerback, he is taught to carry him up to the, carry him deep until something flashes into the flat. And so when he turns to reroute him, he sees the inside receiver break inside, and so Xavier Howard comes right back inside to the flat and picks off the ball right here. Here's the thing. In cover 2, the cornerback, number 1, outside releases. He carries them until something flashes into the flat, and then once something comes into the flat, boom, he breaks up right here. And here's what the cornerback Xavier Howard did. Come on, Phil. Let's just show him. Once he starts to release, he thinks the back does. He's going to turn and run with him, and he reverse pivots like this, and then just baits him and intercepts the ball, takes it in for a pick-6. Great job by Xavier Howard. The kid got fooled. It happens. But unfortunately, it happened at a time in the game where the Patriots couldn't recover.
And I think the fact that he jammed him kind of quickly, Ted, it wasn't like he rode him up the sideline.
Right.
It was all done to just bait that rookie quarterback.
So he didn't carry him up. He just turned, came back, and intercepted it. Great play.
Heady play by a great defender. Trenni, phenomenal job by you.
Good job, Trenni.
As always, our Bella Early Edition, 6:30 with Trenni. Be there.